Okay, time is 8 o'clock, and Narayanaswami, let us start the lecture with an invocation. Om Sri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om Ganana Tva Ganapadigam Havamahe Kavim Kavinam Upamasravastamam Jeshtarajam Brahmanam Brahmanaspada Anasrunvan Nodibisi Dasadanam Om Sri Mahaganapataye Namaha Prano Devi Saraswati Vaje Ebirvajini Evadi Dhinama Vikriyavato Om Sri Mahasaraswatye Namaha Triambagam Yajamahe Sugandim Pushtivardhanam Urvarukamiva Bandhanan Mrityor Mokshi Amamrita Triambagamutinjaya Devataye Namo Namaha Idam Vishnur Vijakrame Tredani Dade Padam Samodamasya Pagam Sure Krishna 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 Om Bhur Bhuvasuvarom Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. So this is lecture number 8. Today, Sunday, November 14th. We will continue from where we left off. We are in chapter 7. We have to continue a couple more sections. They are also equally important. So we would try to recap what we considered so far. Rishis looked around and saw the whole manifestation as a web, the real World Wide Web, WWW, that we use every day, all the time. So they thought that is a web, and human beings, everyone, every activity is going in this big World Wide Web. Everyone is a point. Every person's desire will have rise and fall. Everything happens in this World Wide Web. And human beings are not chattels in the hands of gods, but human beings are co-creators of the activities. The Supreme Spirit is not someone who is going to punish those who do not pray to Supreme Spirit, who do not show allegiance to Supreme Spirit. No such interest for Supreme Spirit. Supreme Spirit has a lot of work to do. It does its work. At the same time, Supreme Spirit is not looking at who is worshipping him, who is not worshipping him, who is talking bad about him, and he neither rewards those who worships. His only job is to provide whatever help anyone wants. If you ask for a help, that help will be given. Supreme Spirit and the Devas. And it provides full freedom to all the human beings. And Rishis also said that the manifestation can be considered as built in 7 different logam, and that comes from Ado Deva Vandano Yado Vishnu Vijakrame Prithivya Saptadamabihi. This is part of a Rigveda mantra in the first mandala. So Prithivya Saptadamabihi, there are 7 stations, and we are in each station has its own consciousness, and our job in this life is to rise in consciousness. We have taken birth to do whatever karma we want to do, whatever karma we have left undone in our previous birth, and that we want to do with full freedom. At the same time, do it in a dharmic manner, divinizing yourself, inviting the devas, so that all your tasks will get full perfection, and then you rise in consciousness levels. Now, we saw all those things, and the uppermost one is the Satchidananda, and the another important observations that Rishis made was, wherever they looked at the manifestation, they felt the presence of life and intelligence behind. And of course, they concluded there is no difference between matter. What we consider the manifestation as full of matter, the rishis considered that there is life behind. So they did not distinguish between matter and life. And it was this peculiarity of thought that constituted the essential outlook of the Vedic system, the root, the basic idea. And this is the that is how this Sanatana Dharma is established. And of course, as we all know, in the early 20th century, Einstein, E equals mc squared, he connected matter and energy. Till that time, science was saying that matter and energy are different, whereas rishis almost 5,000 or 8,000 or 10,000 years ago have concluded that matter and energy, there is no difference. Now, two last points I want to discuss and then close chapter 7 to move on chapter 8 is the equivalence of microcosm and macrocosm. Whatever we see as manifestation outside is happening inside the microcosm, inside the human being also. It is very difficult for us to visualize such a thing. We all have read the story of Krishna when Yashoda's friends told her that he's eating dirt. So Yashoda wanted him to open his mouth, and baby Krishna opened his mouth, and Yashoda saw the whole 7 worlds. That is what to say, everything she could see. Probably, if we open our mouth and someone takes a look at it, they also will be able to find the whole thing as they found in baby Krishna. Only if we are as pure as Lord Krishna. We are not living in pure truth, because we live in truth with falsehood. These are all things we have seen. But what the rishis concluded is the earth or matter is called Prithvi, Tanu is matter, and Tara. And they thought that the earth outside that we see is just like our body, made of this Panchabhuta, whatever. So behind our human body, there is a mind. We know that there is a mind, whether it is that's directing our activities. In fact, in the Kena Upanishad, when the student asked the Rishi, Kenedam patati preshitam manaha, Kena prana pradama prayuktayuktaha, Kenedam vachamimam vadandi, Kau devo chakshusreta unakti. So, how does I get an idea? And Sri Aurobindo on that one said that the mind knows what the student is asking. It is Aurobindo's explanation on Kena Upanishad that mind knows that the body is inert, but the body, your skin, does not know there is a mind behind. So the student is asking the teacher, in the same fashion, just like mind, is there anyone behind the mind telling it to do certain things or whatever that mind is not aware of, but the whatever that organ behind. And Aurobindo went on to say that is a super mind and on. So, which of course is in the Taittiriya Upanishad, gives us a Panchakosha and all that. So, because the human mind, below the skin there is a mind, and the mind has two functions according to Sri Aurobindo. One is the prana, and similarly mind is the collecting all the from all the organs and then putting them together to make a decision for the intellect and making it ready. So just like the mind has two these things, in the same manner, the Prithvi also, the Bhu also has to have two. One is Antariksha, Bhuvaha, and the other one is Suvaha. So they said, at least we are able to feel below our skin or below our body, there is a prana, there is a mind dealing with the prana, and a mind collecting all the, from our Pancha Indriyas, all the things will come to mind to make it ready for the intellect. In the same manner, the Prithvi, the Bhu, also has to have a Bhuvaha and a Suvaha, a prana or the Antariksha. So, and that is the Bhurbu Swaram that we use in all the mantras, because all the time that we are familiar with is this Bhurbu Swaram, and only going beyond, we have to rise into all those things. So this is one of the basic reasons for Rishi's conclusion. And they decided that there are these 7 logas. And let me try to share a document now. Ranga, it says you are disabled the screen sharing.
Mama, I enabled it right now, Mama. Try again.
Okay. Yeah, please read section 7.6.2 of the book. Now, corresponding to these 7 logas, there are 7 consciousness, and same consciousness that we have inside. So this is the 7 kosha pindanda of the microcosm of the 7 loga universe. Just like the outside manifestation, Prithivya Saptadamabihi, based on the Vedic statement, there are 7 damas: Bhuhu, Bhuvaha, Suvaha, Mahaha, Janaha, Tapaha, Satya. And the equivalence of the microcosm and the macrocosm. So just like the 7 loga universe in the microcosm, there is a 7 kosha, 7 loga, we call it kosha for the human body. It is a pindada, and the 7, the outermost annamayam, then pranamayam, then manomayam, then vijnanamayam, then Satchit Ananda, then Chit, then Sat, pure consciousness. So this 7 kosha equivalence for the human being of the inside. Taittiriya Upanishad gives Panchakosha, but this provides the, based on the 7 lokas outside, and because of the equivalence, microcosm, macrocosm equivalence that rishis established, so they made the 7 kosha. Now, if we combine these 3, that is the Satchit Ananda as a single Ananda. So if you combine the 7, 6, and the 5, which is the pure Ananda, pure Chit, and pure Sat, Satchit Ananda, if you combine that into a single item, then the 7th, 6th, and 5th, the Satchidananda koshas are combined then into a single one. So instead of 5, 6, 7, you bring the 6 and 7 as part of 5. So it becomes a single kosha. Then it becomes a 5 kosha pindanda of the Veda Samhita. This is the same Annamaya, Pranamaya, Manomaya, Vijnanamaya. The next one is Ananda, where the Ananda stands for Satchitananda. And this is exactly what the 5 koshas of Taittiriya Upanishad. Taittiriya Upanishad also says in the Brahmandavalli section. So that also is exactly the same 5 kosha, and that comes from Vedas also. So with these, we now find what we find the Vedas and the Upanishads conclude. And of course, Aurobindo goes further to discuss the equivalence and all that. I have discussed in detail in that section 7.6.2. And then I'm going to the last section of section 7, the key teachings of the Vedas. By now, you are all very, very familiar to identify what are the key teachings. You can now say the first and foremost, the existence of Tat Egam, a supreme controller. That is the number one teaching. And what is the basis for that? The basis for that is the Taittiriya Upanishads. The basis for that is the Purusha Sukta, 10.90, 10th Mandala, 90th Sukta, Sahasra Shirsha Purusha, Sahasraksha Sahasravad, Sabhomim Vishwado Vritva, Atyadrishtadashangulam. Here is a person, Purusha, 1,000 eyes, 1,000 arms. The 1,000 Sahasram is not a representative number. It is decides a large number. So he has enough eyes and all that. He can see all over. That Purusha, you cannot describe him. And Sabhomim Vishwado Vritva, after seeing all this manifestation, Atyadishtad Dashangulam, he still extends by 10 inches. It always says some distance. The Dasha Angulam, even though it is Sanskrit translation used 10 inches, it doesn't mean 10 inches. He is still quite extensive after covering all this world. Purusha evedagam sarvam yad bhudam yacha bhavyam utamra tattva seshan edanne. Then next one, etavanasya mahima ato jyayagascha purusha pado osya ishwa bhutani tripadasya amrdandivi. Padosya vishwa bhutani. Padam, only a small padam really means 1/4. So there's a padosya vishwa bhutani. The whole universe that you see amounts to only 1/4. Tripadasya amridam divi. Tripadam, the 3/4 amridam. It is still immortal. It is still staying outside this whole universe manifestation that you see. That is what Purusha Sukta says. So the key teachings, first and foremost, existence of Tadegam, then the presence of Devas and Dasyus. Devas are powers of light. There are powers of darkness. And in this context, I want to make a slight difference compared to other religions, where they also have a, especially in Christianity, there's a Satan, there's an evil force, analogous to the Dasyus that we have. But that Satan seems to be separate, whereas in our concept, Tadegam is supreme. So Tadegam allows Dasyus also to function. He does not bother until when Dasyus dominate, then we know an incarnation comes to remove such a demon that we hear from all these the various avatars. He came as Rama to remove Ravana from whatever this, and he came as Krishna to remove Kamsa and all that. So, but at the same time, until he gives enough freedom, you can even say that even in the modern context, Hitler was riding supreme. Then other nations got together and defeated him. So there will be some way to overcome this. But the Tadegam allows the powers of light to function and powers of darkness, and it is for human beings to invite the powers of light. So the key teachings that I have given in key teachings of our Veda that I have given in section 7.7 is, first is the existence of Tadegam and the powers of light to assist him. And again by Veda Mantra it says, Egam Sat Vipra Bahuda Bhavandi Agnim Indram Mitram Varunam Garudman. So that the whole mantra says, each of these devas, like Agni, Indra, Mitra, Varuna, Garudman, all of them, all these devas have their own specialized psychological powers, but at the same time, they have all the powers of Tadegam also. So in that sense, you will see many mantras in Rig Veda, worship, I am worshipping Agni, he is the only God. Worship the only one and only God. In fact, there was one question last week. So there is no inconsistency in some mantras saying that worship one God, because that one God has the properties. Agni is equal to Tadegam, Indra is equal to Tadegam, that is that Rigveda mantra also says. So in that sense, you can refer to that supreme, each Devadas with a specialized psychological powers. So rishis have invited the Devas to obtain those particular psychological powers also. Then Prithivya Saptadamini, so the number third teaching as the 7-tier world. The whole manifestation is considered as divided into 7 dhamas, 7 imaginary zones were with the different consciousness levels, and the earth level is consciousness consists of truth mixed with falsehood, and then gradually the falsehood will decrease and the truth level will increase, and the 7th level it is pure truth, sat, that is the 7th level. That is where what called Parame Vyoman, where Tadegam, Devas, Mantras reside. Then the 4th one, Yajnas, and everyone, all the mantras, all the Veda mantras talk about Yajna, inner Yajna and outer Yajna. We will see Yajna in the next couple of classes. Then divinize one's life by inviting Devas. Why we have to divinize? For a number of reasons. First and foremost, we will not be able to overcome the dasyus. Dasyus are very powerful. And as we know, our kama, our krodha, we may all say that I want to overcome this kama, krodha and all those things, but we do not succeed in those things. So we need to divinize, we need to invite the devas, and they enter into symbolic battles with dasyus and defeat them. So our negative thoughts will become lesser and lesser, and as devas come in, our truth level will increase, our consciousness level will rise, so our ability to see the tasks at hand with more clarity increases, so our tasks get all-round perfection. So divinize is the 5th one, and the last one is rebirth, that we have not discussed so far. I will take a few minutes by quoting 3 or 4 Rigveda mantras about rebirth, because there is always question, is rebirth mentioned in Vedas? Definitely, even though some people say, no, there is nowhere it is mentioned. It is mentioned. I will quote Sri Aurobindo has mentioned a few suktas, a few mantras, and Dayananda Saraswati has mentioned a few mantras, and I will let me see whether I have that slide here. Those mantras that give the meaning. Yes, the rebirth. Please note that it is not transmigration. You see, I want to distinguish here between rebirth and either transmigration or transmigration. Transmigration, some people talk about that. That is not mentioned. It mentions about rebirth. What is the difference? In the concept of transmigration, the soul, when a human being dies, that soul migrates to another body ready to receive it. That is the concept of transmigration. But I don't think neither Aurobindo nor Dayananda Saraswati is another great scholar who has explained in spiritual meanings also Veda, but nobody followed at like Kabali Shastri and Kashyap in the case of Aurobindo. So Aurobindo's has a lot more extensive. But Dayananda Saraswati also made a very significant and positive contributions for that. He has quoted a couple of mantras. I will bring it. This is the one of them that Aurobindo has mentioned. And the mantra, the meaning of this mantra is this: O Agni, for chariot and for home, you give us a ship. Our body is considered an analogy of a ship traveling with the eternal progress of motion that shall carry us across births and across the peace, our strong spirits and our spirits of illness. So from this, Aurobindo goes on to describe, that means we choose our own next birth position also. And just like ship goes in different places, the soul also lives in different environments in each birth to get different experiences and moves on. That is one of the mantra in Rig Veda. Yeah, there is the rebirth, not transmigration. And as of the meaning, same ship referred to in the mantra for the soul goes through many different environments, each standing for a different birth. The soul creates for itself the different births. That is the meaning of the 140:12. Then rebirth is also mentioned in Mandala 10, 59 Sukta, 5, and not only 5, Swami Dayananda Saraswati says that the next two mantras, 10, 59, 6, and 7. So I will read all these three, the meanings of that, and see for yourself how we conclude that there is a rebirth. O Asuniti. Asuniti is the god of your prana. Give us back the departed spirit. That is the meaning of this mantra. I have not quoted the mantra here. Give us back the departed spirit. Extend our lifespan so that we may live long happily. Empower us so that we may have the vision of sun. Increase the strength of this body by light. Asuniti is the goddess of power in charge of life, breath. Asu or prana, whose exit from the body indicates death. And Swami Dayananda Saraswati says that the next two mantras, also I have quoted the next two mantras, 1059.6. O Asuniti, restore again our sight to us, again our prana, and our enjoyment here. All these have gone, you have left us, but you give us with another body with all these enjoyments. That is the idea behind. Maybe see for a long time the light of the moving sun. So this is a prayer to the goddess of life, Asuniti, to give us what we just lost by this death. The next one, may the earth restore its sheath to us, the Annamaya Gosha. So separately you are asking, may heaven and midworld restore their respective sheaths. May Soma give us the body. Soma is the Lord of delight. Give us the body for us to enjoy this life. May Pushan gives nourishment to the body and happiness. May Pushan restore to us the happiness and path of travel. So all these two mantras all indicative of rebirth. So that was the sixth item that I identified as six. There may be more similarly interesting points we can add, but I chose what are the key teachings of the Vedas and selected six of them. Again, all of you by now, by hearing this lecture, certainly this chapter 7, everyone knows the existence of Tadegam. That is the first teaching. Second teaching is, along with the Tadegam, there are the presence of Devas and Dasyus. We must stay with Devas, the powers of light. Then the third teaching is the Prithivya Saptadamabihi. There are 7 zones with different levels of consciousness. We live in the earth zone number 1, where truth mixed with falsehood. We must make every attempt to stay away from powers of darkness, the negative thoughts, and stay with the powers of light, with the Devas. By inviting Devas, we must divinize ourselves. By performing yajna, yajna is a way to invite the Devas. We will discuss more in detail in the next 2 classes. Then the divinization is number 5, and number 6 is rebirth. So with this, the chapter 7 is concluded. I encourage all of you to read and reread chapter 7. That gives you a fundamental idea of the spirituality and wisdom, and that will open your vision to various other texts also. Will become a lot easier. The study of all other texts, Bhagavad Gita, the Upanishads, Yoga Sutras of Patanjali, every one of them will make a lot more sense once you understand the spirituality and wisdom. And if you have a chance, read the additional references that are given from Professor Kashyap. He has written many books in addition to translating these books, 26 volumes. He has written many small booklets, which are all less than 100 pages. And I have quoted a few of them in that chapter 8. So you can try to get some of those easy reading, less than 100 pages, some of them 50, 60 pages, to get a better understanding of this whole Vedas. With this, now, yeah, the final statement, Rig Veda 10.59.7, where we, in 59.7, may the earth restore its sheath to us, may heaven and the midworld restore their respective sheaths, may Soma give us the body, may Pushan restore to us the happiness and path of travel. All that is indicative of the kosha, sapta kosha that we saw, to make the body whole, so that he may continue to live or begin to live in a new birth. That is the analysis of mantra 7. So with this, the chapter 7, spirituality and wisdom in the Vedas, are explained in detail in the past 2 lectures. Key concepts we have explained. Understand these concepts well and thoroughly will help all of us to study all our other spiritual texts, including Puranas, Bhagavad Gita, Patanjali Sutras, and Upanishads. So Vedic education was part of our education a long time. Whenever you have time to read, not only from my book, but there are other books by Professor Kashyap, Dayananda Saraswati. So many scholars have written, but look for only those that describe the spirituality and wisdom, not the Sainacharyas type books. That may not make much sense, or the English translations. But there are other Indian scholars who have written Veda books on spirituality. Okay, with this, we will go to chapter. So thus far, now, we have looked at the spiritual and wisdom. Now we are going to say, so in a sense, the last 7 lectures and this lecture, I have so far talked about the Veda. We have not taken a look at what is in the Veda, how is the Veda organized, and what are the yajnas, and how can we make our entry steps to Veda practice, and all the things that Veda, the chapter 7, what I said, to invite, to divinize ourselves, to start doing yajna, to chant a few mantras, to develop steps in a way so that we are getting away from powers of darkness and moving in the direction of light. So what does Veda say? Chapter 1 through 7, I have introduced how the Vedas came from 6000 BC up to here. What are the various texts that came out of Vedas to make the understanding of Vedas simpler. But until this Aurobindo Kapali Shastri Kashyap, we had missed the spirituality and wisdom, even while the statements made are true that Vedas contain karma, but the karma was given only an external meaning, and it was only suggested to be done to get to the fruits of the yajna. But if that is the goal by which people are prominent, they can still continue to do. You have an immediate, none of our efforts to get a job is functioning, materializing. So you want to get a divine help. You schedule 1 or 2 special yajnas for that, and you want to get a job. You will, that phala of that yajna will make things conducive for you to get a job, whatever way. And you can get the phala also. So, however, what once you understand the spirituality and wisdom, what they say is, one can get more from the yajna. Why settle for that may be our immediate need? So he asked for a job, he got the job. But what I am saying is that the divinization, the devas will give you whatever. If you say, invite, hey, you can give me the job, but you also come to me. Once deva comes, not only you are getting the job was made easy, but your performance in the job will become all-round perfection. So your employer will never think of sending you away. So don't stop by asking for a particular phala in the yajna. That's all what I'm saying. But if that is the way that you are used to and you want to continue, please don't stop doing the yajna. Continue the yajna and do more yajna. But to those who are asking, hey, no, I don't want to ask, I want a job or I want to get a bigger house. Those are all not my things. I want the deva to come to me. Why? I want the deva to remove my negative tendencies, my powers of darkness. Why? I want to rise in consciousness level. Why? I want to attain immortality. I want to do my task well. And in the process, I want to have enjoyment. I want to have happiness. I want to perform my tasks with all-round perfection. And I want to rise in consciousness level and eventually get to immortality. I want to get the Sayujyam. I want to live with Tadegam and the Devas along with them. And I get immortality. And of course, anyone who goes there will become a Deva or a Rishi. Because you are in pure truth. That is the only way you can get there. So there is no question of thing. Then you become a Deva or a Rishi. Anyway, so now, up to now, we described about the Vedas. And not only about the Vedas, how the Vedas come here, what all the publications came, but also removing of the erroneous messaging that we had about Vedas. Vedas are rituals. It has no wisdom. It is done for getting some fruits of the yajna or a place in the heaven. Then when all that your punya is over, you have to come down and go through this miserable life again. That is the context in which Vedas and the mantras being made. That is, Vedas describe karmas, and Bhagavad Gita also, I said, Devan bhavetanena te deva bhavayandu vaha parasparam bhavayandaha saya paramavapsisi. So Bhagavan also says, you cherish the devas, devas will return cherish you, devas will come to you, devas will divinize you, and parasparam bhavayandaha, helping each other. Of course, we don't need, we only are giving the delight. We will come all that in detail. What is inside the Vedas? What are the mantras? How these Vedas are organized? And what is yajna? How to get started with baby steps so that we will lead more and more. We are closer to the powers of light. We are divinizing our life, and we are trying to rise in consciousness level. We are able to perform our tasks with all-round perfection. If you are all-round perfection, greater perfection than what we were doing previously. Even that is a great improvement. So for all these things, we must know. So we are going to talk about the Vedas. As we know, Vedavyasa classified them into this. Now, the current mantras, each of them of one particular recension. Rigveda Samhita is Shakalayana recension. Krishna Yajurveda, Taitriya Samhita. Shukla Yajurveda, Vajasani Samhita. Samaveda Samhita, then Atharva Veda. All these together, there are about 27,000 mantras, and some mantras from Rigveda are available in Yajurveda also. Most of the mantras in Samaveda are from Rigveda, and Atharva Veda has Riks, some Rigveda mantras, and a few edges also. So let us see. There is a pictorial representation of all the Veda Samhitas. You may think that, hey, I am not interested to get to the details or no. I want to take you through. You will find that everything has a value. As we get into the yajnas, then this understanding of how the Vedas are organized will also be help you. And leaving aside that, it will also help you to more intelligently refer to which of the Vedas that you want to do to find out the mantras that are of interest and all that. So this schematic that shows is this big circle is the Rigveda, because the Rigveda has 10,552 mantras. As I showed in the previous one, Rigveda Samhita has only Riks. Rik is a poetic verse, usually 2 lines. It will have a chandas, either Gayatri Chandas, Gayatri, Ushnik, Anishtubh, Brihadi, Pankti, Trishtubh, Jagati. And there are 7 usually mentioned, but there are other chandas also. Krishna Yajurveda has 4,773. About 2/3 are Yajur mantras, and the remaining 1/3, about 3,000 to 3,200 are Yajurveda mantras, and about 1,500 Riks also in Yajurveda Samhita. Shukla Yajurveda also has some Riks and some Yajus, and Shukla Yajurveda has about 50% of the mantras common with Krishna Yajurveda. Remember, Yajurveda was only one Yajurveda, but it became 2. Krishna, it is called a Krishna because Brahmana passages are mixed with the mantra passages in Krishna Yajurveda, so they call it Krishna, saying mixed. Whereas Shukla Yajurveda has only mantras. And Samaveda, 95% of the mantras are from Rigveda in Samaveda, but Samaveda will be chanted with Saman form. So it is a different, as we discussed, even though there are 5 separate Veda Samhitas, we have only 3 mantra types. One is called a Rik. Rik is a poetic verse. Rik also sometimes said as a stuti, is a praise. Mantras that always, most of the time, praise Agni, Indra for their help, and the rishis providing thanks to the Deva for helping him from a difficult situation. Many of the mantras are so. Rik are poetic verses. Yajus are prose sentences. Samaveda, the Rik mantras expanded in a particular way for chanting purposes, that is Saman. And Atharva Veda, that discusses many health and long life. There are Subhashidas, polity, so many aspects are mentioned in Atharva Veda as well. So we will see an overview of all these as we go. So the schematic representation is like this. The Rig Veda, the Sama Veda is completely contained here. And part of overlap is the Yajur Veda, because some of the mantras, Rig Veda mantras are here. So there is overlap. In the same way, Atharva Veda also. Both Krishna Yajur Veda and Shukla Yajur Veda has overlap with the Rig Veda. Same Rigs available in Rig Veda, Yajur Veda, and Shukla Yajur Veda, both Krishna Yajur and Shukla Yajur Veda. Almost 98% of the mantras in Samaveda are Rig mantras, which can be expanded and chanted in a particular form. So the full Samaveda is enclosed in the Rig Veda. Then Atharva Veda has some overlap. So the Samaveda has 2 types of texts: the Yoni mantras, which are the Rig Veda mantras, and Samagana mantras. That is where the Saman forms set for that. And the other one contains mainly Rig Veda, Rig, and now how they are organized. So I think we don't need the text now. Now Rig Veda consists of Rig mantras, and there are about 400 rishis. 30 of them are lady rishis. Yajur Veda contains Yajus mantras and Rig mantras. Samaveda contains Rig mantras only. All the mantras of Samaveda, 98%. There are maybe few Rig mantras. And the Samaveda itself called Sama Yoni, the source. Sama Yoni mantras, a book of Sama Yoni mantras, and there is a Sama Gana mantras. But the Sama Gana mantra books are not easily available. Only the Samaveda Pandits may keep a copy. Everyone talks about Samaveda mantra as the Sama Yoni mantra only, as the Rig mantra, and you chant it as a Sama mantra. For example, Agna Aya Hi Videye Gnano Avyadadaye Nihota Satya Barishi. This is the mantra for Samaveda that we chant in the Sarvaveda Parayanam. But at the same time, the Samagana of Agnaya is much more extensive, and that is in a separate book. So this is a Samayoni mantra. Now, 10,552 mantras in Rig Veda, divided into 10 mandalas, and there are a total of 1,028 suktas. In each sukta, on an average, there will be 10 mantras. And in my book, at the end of chapter 10, the first sukta of Rig Veda, out of 1,028, one sukta, the very first sukta is, the Devata is Agni, and there are 9 mantras in the first sukta. All the 9 mantras of the first sukta are available at the end of chapter 10 in that book. Now, every mantra in the Rig Veda can be usually designated with the 3 digits. We showed that whenever we were saying it, when I was talking about the rebirth mantras, 10.59.5, 10.59.6, 10.59.7. The 10, the first number, is used to denote the mandala number, because the Rig Veda total 10,552 mantras are organized in 10 mandalas. The second one, in each mandala, there is a sukta number. So 59 was the 59th sukta of the 10th mandala. And the mantra 5, 6, and 7, those are the 3 mantras that we saw. Now, many familiar, I'll chant a few familiar mantras in Rig Veda, so for all of you to know. And in fact, the 4 invocation mantras that I chant, Ganana Antwa Ganapatikam Havamahe, that is a Rig Veda mantra, that is 2:23:1, second mandala, 23rd sukta, and the first mantra. Then Prano Devi Saraswati Vaje Ever Vajini Evadi Dhinama Vitryodu. So, for example, that is a mantra. Naha, for all of us, Devi, Prano Devi. No means Naha, for all of us. Devi Saraswati. Who is she? Vajeber Vajini Vadi. Vajeber, Vajam, of course, in the external meaning, Vaja is translated as rice, but Vaja has the meaning of felicities, various felicities that you need to have, various talent or talent buds, then you can expand that. Vajeber Vajini Vadi, the adjective, Prano Devi Saraswati Vaje Eber Vajini Evadi. Among these various felicities, she is a Vajinivadi, she is the supreme. So she can give you whatever felicity that you want. Dhinama Vitryodu, sprinkle us with indulgence. So that is the meaning of that mantra. Prano Devi Saraswati Vaje Eber Vajini Evadi Dhinama Vitryodu. That is in the 6th mandala. That is, I think that is revealed to Bharadwaja Rishi. Bharadwaja Bharaspatiya. That is the Rishi to whom this Prano Devi Saraswati mantra was revealed. Then Trembakam Yajamehe Sugandham Mrittivardhanam Urvarikam Iva Bandharan Mrityor Mukshema. Urvarikam Iva. Just like a cucumber separates from its stem very effortlessly, in the same manner, remove my bondage, remove me from the bondage. But Ma Amrudata, no, don't remove me from immortality. That is the meaning of the mantra. That is revealed, that is a 7th mandala, 59th sukta, 12th, 7th mandala, 59th sukta, 12th mantra. Trembakam Yame is revealed to Vasishtha, sage Vasishtha, Maitra Varna, Vasishtha himself or his disciples or sons from there. Idam Vishnu Vijakrame, Treda Nidadevadam, Samodava Sevagam Sure. That is Mandala 1, 22 Sukta and 17th mantra. May the Kanva got that mantra. So Idam Vishnu Vijakrame, Vishnu strode in his chariot. Treda, 3 times he stepped down, and the 3 stepping down are the lower 3. Bhuhu, Bhuva, Soha together as 1. Maha as the intermediate one. Satchitananda as the 3. These are the 3. Treda Nidadevadam. In 3 places he put his foot down. That 3 steps is coming as the story of Vamana and Bhagavata Purana. So those are the mantras from Rig Veda. Then the famous Gayatri mantra, Tat Savitaru Vare Enyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yona Prachodaya. Tat Savituhu Varenyam. The sun as Sabitu, Sabita as creator. That is how you worship a sun. Tat Savituhu Varenyam. Varenyam, you are adorable. You are to be adored. Propel me towards the truth. So that is the importance of Gayatri Mantra, because the whole purpose of life, according to Vedas, is for us to get away from powers of darkness, to get away from the negative thinking and negative activities of the negative characteristics that we have, the Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moha, Mada, Matsarya, and stay closer to powers of truth, powers of light, Devas, stay. So divinize yourself. So when that be the case, who can help us most in that one? The guy who can remove the darkness, sun. That is the importance of the Gayatri Mantra. In fact, I have wondered, immediately after my Upanayana and all that, everybody will say that Gayatri Mantra is the greatest mantra. You have to chant a Gayatri Mantra. And also, I have also been told that's a Prashtita Mantra also. For various activities, you have to chant that. And then later on, when we are organizing this Egadasa, Rudram, Maharudram, Adirudram and all that, all the Ritviks, the chanters of the Namaga, Chamaga mantras, they were told that please chant anywhere minimum of 3,000 Gayatri mantras before you come to the start of the Mahardura or Adirudra. Then all those times I wondered, so what is this? The mantra itself is a three-part, 24 characters, 23 character in fact, Nitir Gayatri Chanda. It is one character less than the 24 character of Gayatri Chandas. Tat Sabiduhu Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimihi Dhyayena Prachodayat. So what is so big about it? What is so big about it is the fact that if you invite sincerely by chanting this mantra, Sabitu, Tat Sabituhu Varenyam, you are an adorable person. Bhargo Devasya Dhimihi, give me all the blessings. Dhyayena Prachodayat, propel me with intelligence in that direction. Once you invite sun god to you, the purpose of Surya Namaskar, sun salutation as part of yoga, all of them, this is the ultimate and basic. You can start basic, fundamental, ultimate purpose. Everything is combined in one, is in this Gayatri Mantra. Because once you invite sun, darkness will go away. Whatever negative thoughts you have, of course, you can still do the Surya Namaskara and you can continue to nurse your ego and all those things. That's a different story. But if you are sincerely seeking and sincerely requesting God that, hey, remove my negative, because that is what the Vedas say. Once the falsehood, if you separate the falsehood, then we will rise in consciousness level. We are human beings. We may not be able to get over our desires. We may not be able to get over anger, all other things, the pride, jealousy, all of them we may end up. But we try to minimize. And by inviting these devas, and the Gayatri Mantra is one, then Jata Veda says, Sunavama Somamaradiado Nidahadi Vedaha. That is the Durga Sukta. Help me with remove all the negative things from me. Then Ano Badra Kratavo Yandu Vishwataha. This may blissful impulsions come to us. Ano Badra Kratavo Yandu Vishwataha. Wherever parts of world good ideas come, let it come to me. May blissful impulses come to us from all sides of the world, which harm no one, are unimpeded and victorious over the forces of division. That is the full mantra. I only chanted the first part. Ano Badra Kratavo Yandu Vishwadaha. From all over the world, wherever it is, good ideas, Badra, come to us. And there are the second and third parts say it should not cause harm to anyone. It must win victorious over forces of division. No other religious book will invite good ideas from wherever it is, and it should not be divisive. It must be victorious. It must be joyful for everybody. Only our Vedas have that. Then the mantra Dva Suvarna Sayuja Sakhaya Samanam Vriksham Parivashyade. There are two birds sitting in a thing that is very frequently quoted by Vedantins, those who have studied Mundaga Upanishad or Sharada Upanishad. Both of them use the same mantra. Two birds, Dva Suvarna Sayuja Sakhaya. They are friends. They are sitting. Samanam Vriksham Parivashyade. In the same tree they are sitting. One of them is eating. The other one looks on. You can say that is man and God, or Jivatma and Paramatma to explain. That is a Mundaga Upanishad, one of the important mantras. That is from Rigveda. Then this is another Agni mantra that can be used for this. Agnena Subhataraye Asman Vishwan Deva Vainani Vidwan Yodhyasman Juhranameno Bhuishtante Namoktim Videma. Agne Naya Subhataraye. Subhata Samyak Pada. Good path. Lead me. Agni, O Agni, Asman Naya, please lead us through good paths. Vishwani Deva Vainani Vidwan. You know everything in the world, because anyone, if a person is alive, there is Agni. So that is why he is called a Jata Vedas. Any person, living person there, he knows. So that is the for Agni. Oh, Deva can lead us by good path. Yodhasman Juhranam. Yodhi Asmand Juhranam Ena. Take us away. Remove us from any devious attraction to sin. Enam. Yodhyasman Juhranam Ena. Enam means sin. Juhranam. Any devious attractions of sin that I am fascinated by, remove them from me. Bhuishtante Namakdeva. I am surrendering to you. I am offering you my namaskaram. This is a very important mantra for Agni. So many mantras that is here. And this is also in the Ishavasya Upanishad. 18th mantra of Ishavasya Upanishad. Those who are studying Upanishads will be able to recognize this mantra. 18th mantra of the Ishavasya Upanishad. And it is also in the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad in the 5th chapter. So there are so many, and one more mantra I will quote and then I will move on. Nasadiya Suktam, the creation suktas are the Na Asad Asid. So Nasadiya, the sukta itself is called a Nasadiya. Na Asad Asid. Asad means evil or negatives of Sat. There were no Asat, na Sat Asid. There were no pure also. Tadanim, na Rajo, na Vyoma, non-existence was not, existence was not, neither principle of movement, nothing was moving. What covered overall and were, everything was floods. If I get time in the 11th or 12th lecture, I will take 2 or 3 creation suktas, and including this Nasadiya Sukta, and explain what is the Rigvedic way of creation. There are, it will give lot of directions and guidelines in various suktas. So with this, I conclude the discussion of the Rigveda. Then I will move on to Yajurveda, because the whole purpose is to give you an overview of these Vedas before our goal is to move on to Yajnas. So I can refer back what are the Yajnas discussed, and how from there we adapted it to the current Yajnas and all that, to discuss that. So I want to give you the Veda Samhidas. So Rigveda Samhita, due to one recension, 10,552 mantras due to Shakalayana is the Rigveda. Now, Yajurveda. Yajurveda has two broad classifications, Krishna Yajurveda and Shukla Yajurveda. Krishna Yajurveda, it is called the Krishna because it has mantras and brahmanas mixed together. So there are some brahmana passage will be there, part of the mantras along with that. And certain kandas will also be full of brahmanas. And there are 3 or 4 recensions available, but the commonly used Krishna Yajurveda is called the Taittiriya Samhita. Just like the Taittiriya Upanishad, the Taittiriya Samhita, there is a Matra in 3 or 4, then Kataka, 4 recensions are available of the Krishna Yajurveda, but the one that commonly followed is the Taittiriya Shakha. So Krishna Yajurveda Taittiriya Samhita, KYVTS, is how it is generally known. Then Shukla Yajurveda is called Vajasaneyi Samhita, and there is only one version, one recension of the Shukla Yajurveda. Krishna Yajurveda is in 7 kandas. Just like Rigveda was in 10 mandalas. All these are written in detail in chapter 8 of my book. Please read through that. You can see the classification more detail, but I will spend 5-10 minutes each to give an overview so that some of the important points from these Samhitas that you are heard as part of this lecture. So Krishna Yajurveda is in 7 kandas, but the mantras are mainly in kanda number 1, kanda number 4, and kanda number 7. And in the kanda number 1, it discusses many yajnas, the Dashavarnamasau, Rajasuya, Agnishtoma. I will discuss when I discuss about the yajna. Now, Krishna Yajurveda also discusses not only outer yajna, it discusses of inner yajna also. Now, the goal of all inner yajna is perfection of all our faculties. We want to, all these faculties must be perfected, must be divinized. That is those of the physical body, those connected with our emotions, and those connected with our mental domain. All of them we want to offer to as part of divinization, so that the effect of tamas will go away. None of them will entertain these negative qualities. So that is the whole purpose of this yajna also. A lot more detailed explanation of yajna we will discuss in the, that is chapter number 9, but that will be after, as soon as I complete chapter 8. I may not be able to complete it today, but halfway through the next class, the chapter 8 will be over. Then I will do the yajna. And that is where I hope the next 2 or 3 lectures, all of you will be able to make it convenient to attend, because that is where we are going to take those who have not taken much steps to learn the divinization steps and all that. These lectures will help guide them in that direction. So, as I said, talking about the Vedas are over. Now we are talking what are in the Vedas and how we can take steps to divinize ourselves. Small steps, take small steps. You know, there may be a lot of steps to do before we get to live with Tadegam. But we have to start sometime. So let us start now along that. So these lectures will give us help. So in the first kanda, one of them I will mention, Dashavurnamasau is that is to be done on new moon day and full moon day. Even now, all of us are doing in the new moon day. We do usually the Amavasi day. We usually do for departed ancestors. If your father, especially in Brahmin, thing, every new moon day, you get a 12 every year. Every 4 or 5 years, you get 13. But on that Amavasi day, you do a tarpana to the departed. If your father is no more, then the Brahmins perform a tarpana function on new moon day. And all people can function on the full moon day, the Purnima Puja. These are all discussed in the first kanda of Yajurveda. And in the fourth kanda comes the Namakam and Chamaka mantras. And of course, the organization of the Krishna Yajurveda is in 7 kandas. Each kanda has divided into Prabhataka, 6 or 7 Prabhatakas, sometimes 8 in each of the kanda. Each Prabhataka has Anivagas. Each Anivaga has mantras. So it is a 4 classification. Kanda, Prabhataka, Anivaga, and mantra. And in the 4th kanda, there are 7 Prabhatakas. In the 5th Prabhataka is the Namaka chant, 11 Anivagas that describe the Rudram, Namakam. Namas Somaya, Rudraya, Namas Samraya, Arunaya. Because of Nama frequently come, it is called the Namakam. It is a Rudra worship. Then in the 7th Prabhataka, is called Chamaka mantra. Sanchame, Mayaschame, Priyamchame, Nikamaschame. So the Chame will come. To me, I am doing this yajna, all my faculties be divinized. That's that. So in the 7 Prabhatakas, the 5th and 7th are the Namaka and Chamaka. So one can ask a question, why these two are separated like this? And there are 7 Prabhatakas. And in fact, why is it not the Namaka and Chamaka in 2 Prabhatakas continuously? Because when you chant the Namaka mantras, it brings so much energy within you. And to balance and to organize that energy in the proper way, the 6th Prabhataka, there are in Anivagas, there are details provided. Nobody chants those things. Then only after receiving all the energies that come by the chanting of the Namaka mantra, then you chant the Chamaka mantra. That is why they are not in continuous Prabhatakas. They are in 2 different Prabhatakas, 4.5 and 4.7. And in the 7th kanda of Krishna Yajurveda, 7th kanda of Krishna Yajurveda, there are discussions of Ashwamedha and the Adhiratra functions, the 2-day, 3-day, 4-day, up to 49-day, many number of yajnas that can be performed. That is, and the kanda number 2 and kanda number 3 are Brahmana passages. Similarly, kandas 5 and 6 are Brahmana passages, which describe about the legacy and some of the steps to be used in the yajnas, and all that is coming in those. So the 7 kandas and about 3,000, about 4,000 and odd mantras in Krishna Yajurveda, including some Brahmana passages in Krishna Yajurveda, and Shukla Yajurveda is in 40 chapters. So it has chapter and then it has mantras. And as we discussed earlier, when we saw the Ishavasya Upanishad, the 40th chapter is the 40th chapter. There are 17 mantras. That 17 mantras are part of the Ishavasya Upanishad. And the 18th mantra of the Ishavasya Upanishad was the Rigveda mantra, Agnene Subhadaraye, Mandala 189.1, in that one. So Shukla Yajurveda and the Shukla Yajurveda happens, the Namaga Chamaga mantra. Even though they are common, there are also differences. So commonly the Namaga and Chamaga mantras chanted are from the Krishna Yajurveda, 4th Prabhadaga, 5th Anubhaga of Krishna Yajurveda, and the Chamaga mantras are in the 4th Kanda, 5th Prabhadaga. 11 Anubhagas are the Namaga mantras, and 4th Kanda, 7th Prabhadaga, 11 Anubhagas are the Chamaga mantras. So I will stop here, and I will spend about another half hour also at the beginning of the next class, and then I will move on to Yajna, and I will take the questions now. Ranga.
Yeah, Mama, Naga, I have unmuted Naga. So Naga,
Okay.
can you try?
Naga.
I think he went again unmute. Okay, he went on mute. Okay, try Naga. Try now, Naga.
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, hello, good morning, everybody. Mama, the first question is from Nandakishore Kidkikar.
Yes.
Rebirth is not transmigration, but soul is immortal. Then how the rebirth is different from transmigration? Would you explain it in details?
Yes. Yeah. The reason I brought that point is that the transmigration, migration means the soul immediately goes to another place. Like take our own case. We boarded on a plane and landed in America or wherever you went to migrate to. So that is the word migration. So transmigration, certain, I don't know which other religion does, or that was being thought about and all that. So that does not happen. Where the soul goes, I really don't know. Veda also does not describe. But because it says that the ship that you provide, this body is the ship provided. And since the ship is going to a different environment, just like a ship travels to different places, it goes to a different environment. So the only way I can say is the soul, along with, if not your Annamaya Kosha, your subtle bodies, your Pranamaya Kosha, Manomaya Kosha, and Vijnanamaya Kosha, where all your likes and dislikes, whatever it is that you are, that also travels with you. So in that sense, the transmigration is not the soul alone. So that is where the 140 point, that mantra that I showed, you are giving a soul, just like you gave a ship for travel and for comfort. That is the way to use this. So that is the difference that I say, that the soul, along with your subtle bodies, where all your, whatever your karma, whatever good you have done goes with you, and the bad also goes with you. You have to remove the bad by your good actions in the next birth and all that. That is the only, that's all what is explained by Aurobindo and all that. Beyond that, I'm not able to say. But there is a difference between that you are going as in the same, all other environments will be there. Only the body again is changes in that one. It is not the soul alone directly going to somewhere. Soul with all the subtle bodies and all that. That is the only explanation I can provide. Next, Naga.
The next question is from Ramesh Deshpande. It's a long comment, but I'll read the question part alone.
Yeah.
Is it correct to say that Ishwar Pranidhan will help one to transgress birth and rebirth cycle, one of the methods to accomplish this goal is Vipassana meditation. Is this understanding make sense?
Ishvara Pranidhana as a step in the both in the yoga, the yama niyama, also Ishvara Pranidhana is stated and all that. And I am not familiar with the Vipassana meditation, so Ramesh, I am not able to directly answer. But these are all steps of divinization. That is the only level I may be able to respond. Beyond that, I'm not knowledgeable in that area to say whether that is equal to that.
Aman, there are a couple of requests for sharing the PPTs of all lectures, and whether you can teach to recite some key RV mantras, Rigveda mantras.
Yeah, you know, teaching in reference to the teaching aspect, I think it is better that you identify a teacher close to where you live, because the Guru Mukha learning is how the Veda mantras are communicated, transferred from Guru Shishya Parampara. So from the teacher to the student, because the teacher has to listen the chant back from the student and correct him. That happens only in an environment where you are sitting with the teacher. I think teaching mantras online is not likely, so that is not possible. But as part of this one, I certainly will discuss and explain, make those words simple of that Agni mantras. So in fact, I will send in my next email, I will look ahead what will happen in the next 4 classes. And I have planned to discuss these 9 Agni mantras. In fact, I want all of you to be able to chant. I will go slow, chant, and of course, this whatever I chant, that video will be available in the YouTube. You can listen to that also. But that is not adequate if you also have access to a teacher nearby. But for the purposes of your own personal, you are wanting to invite the Agni, this is adequate. Whether the exactly correct way the priest chant for group chanting, or the priest have to do the correct chanting and the correct conduct of the yajna for the yajna to deliver the phala according to Jaimini's Purva Mimamsa. Your purpose is not to conduct the yajna, don't attempt to conduct the yajna. You are only inviting the Deva to come. And the Rishis, this is something I should have taken 1 or 2 mantras in the Rigveda, but my goal was only to give how these Vedas, Samhitas are organized, and to refer you to read my chapter 8. That is all the purpose of this lecture. But if you read those Rigveda mantras, you can see the Rishis addressing the Devas just like friends. In fact, not even among strangers, we ourselves don't address that that informally. That is where, in fact, I'll tell you, Adate Andamanam Vidyama Sumatinam Mano Adikya Agahi. This is the mantra for Indra. Atate Andamanam. Indra is the Lord of divine mind. And this is in the first mandala, third sukta, the third mantra, third or fourth sukta, third mantra for Indra. Atate andamanam vidyama. Hey, you are the leader of the divine mind. Oh Indra, you are the leader of the divine mind. I want to look at Atate andamanam, your inside, vidyama. I want to see what is inside your mind. And that is how Rishi addressing this Indra. Atate andamanam vidyama. Vidyama. I want to learn. I want to understand. Andamanam. What is inside your mind? Hey, you are the divine man. Then he says, Mano adikya. Please do not show me things that I cannot understand. Don't give me anything that goes over my head. Agahi. Please come to me. This is one mantra that, so whether you chant it with exact intonation as a priest chants is not necessary. Why? Your purpose is only to invite Indra. So you are dealing with him as though he is your friend. That is how rishis have done. That is the example we have to follow from the Rigveda mantra. Atate andamanam vidyama. Te andamanam, you are inside. Why I want to look at your inside? Because you are the Lord of divine mind. I want to understand. I want to make my mind also similar to that, right? The best way to look at, to do something is look at another example, which is the correct example. And Indra is the Lord of divine mind. So looking at his mind, so that I want to make my mind like him. That is what this Rishi says, the Madhuchandas Vishwanitra, in the first this thing. Atate andamanam vidyama sumati nam. Sumati, your mind. Mano adikya. Don't show me things that I cannot grasp. You have so many things to teach me, but give me little thing that I can accept. Agahi. Agahi. Then Agna Ayahi. You see, Ayahi Agahi. If you don't know the Agna Ayahi, this is part of the Samayada mantra, first as part of the Chaturveda Parayana for the Agna Ayahi Vidaye Gnano Havyadade Nihota Satsi Barishi. Agna Ayahi. Oh Agni Ayahi, come to me. So that's all what he needs to say. All of us, I can teach that much. Agna Ayahi. Oh, you come to me. You stay every day morning after taking shower and all that. Wherever you have a puja room or a meditation room, sit there, close your minds. Oh, Agni Ayahi, Agna Ayahi, Indra Ayahi. Agni and Indra are the two devas, more important devas. One is the Lord of divine mind, Indra. Agni is the Lord of divine willpower. So once these two people come, you have got it made. Even if Agni alone comes, because Agni will also find out which other deva must come, what is it that you are lacking, and Agni will invite those devas on your behalf. But you have to get Agni. And we have to develop our subtle body. All those things I will discuss as part of the Yajurveda. And the yajna in the next, I think after the next lecture, the first hour also. I will send an email what are our plans for the next 4 lectures. Anything else, Naga?
Mama, there are more questions. We are almost close to time.
Okay, so the remaining questions I will respond as part of the Q&A report. So let us close this session by chanting the closing prayers. Om Asato Ma Sadgamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritangamaya. Om Shanti 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 Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah Sarve Santu Niramaya sarve bhadrani pashyantu ma kaschit dukkhabhag bhavet. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Okay. Thank you, Ranga and Naga. See you next class.